Hey, what's up, guys? Where I'm staying right now, I got streaming, so I thought I'd look at some of the older stuff, some of the interesting things that I haven't seen in a couple of years. Of course, Masters of Horror. Remember, it was Showtime. They would have hour-long, essentially horror films, episodes directed by the names of the time. Some really good ones. Some ones that were like, and there were ones like this. This one I saw. The other one I want to cover, I had not seen, but I was always curious to see it. And when finally seen them, there's so many different nuances to them. Of course, these are all made more interesting by the passage of time. These came out in like 2006, 2007. And so much has changed since then. It's very interesting to see. I mean, I could go over stuff. I'm gonna try to get as much as I can in relatively shorter vids. Homecoming. Okay, this is the famous one with Joe Dante, right? Where the Iraq War, the dead soldiers. Some they come back. Some of them, I guess, not all of them, but they come back, and they want to vote. They want to vote in the election, essentially, and they want to vote against the Republican who sent them to this evil war. Right? And there's the woman character. This is not a too. It's not a very clever takeoff on Ann Coulter. Well, the actress does a good job. I mean, the acting is great. These were very well done. But it's funny watching this. You'd say, well, this is an anti-Iraq war message. Also, coming from me, well, shit, fucking Iraq war. What a more than just being a total bloodbath of Iraqi civilians and a total less than nothing waste, not only of the men who died, but of the many more men who were wounded and who are committing suicide in the decade and a half since. I'm hardly one to come at this from the Sean Hannity angle, but what's interesting in the context of now is how this looks. Particularly, the main thing is less an anti-Iraq war message than a pro-democracy message. The zombies, when they come back, they want to vote, and then as soon as they cast their vote, they become dead for real. Like they collapse and they're really dead. Now, the obvious. The obvious thing of you're only useful for a vote and then your usefulness is ended. It's kind of funny. It's also funny, and they even reference it in this because how can they not, as a obviously Democrat partisan, Dante, how can you not mention that counting the dead back then or now has always been an accusation brought against Democrats. They actually had to put something out in front because anyone with any clever idea or anyone who had a brain in their head could point out counting the dead. To get that away from this, they go for this sentimental aspect of what was an unjust war. But see, in some ways, remember where I'm coming from with the third positions. It doesn't go far enough. When you have a war where 4,000 or almost 5,000 men, mostly men, but some women, were killed, and then many, many more maimed and scarred psychologically. You should have had the dead rise, okay, way before with other wars where you had a higher body count. There were also lies, but you can't do that, can you? Okay, and hardly being a partisan for the fucking Republicans, but I'm gonna tell you, it always is interesting how you can always bring up that fucking idiot George Bush, okay, with this Republican war. Well, if you forget your history, though, and you look at the 20th century alone, it was the other party that got you into every fucking war with a much higher body count that there was. But those wars were good, right? And the other funny thing, too, is in terms of the election here, the election is stolen in this, okay? The Democrats are winning thanks to the living dead, not just their votes, but also the people seeing these guys who are against the war. Okay? And this thing comes up. I want to keep talking now. But essentially, the election is stolen. And this is a shade to something even earlier before that war. Of course, the 2000 election with Florida. Florida comes in for abuse. Of course, that is also in the mind of the creators of this. Right? And when this happens, the dead from all the wars rise. Of course, it's low budget, so they tell you that over the phone. They don't show it. Right? Interesting. Why would they not rise before when you think of all the lies that this America, every war it's been in? The First World War alone, you should have had an apocalypse afterwards. Well, I guess you sort of did, right? But you should have had the dead rise, okay? And fucking, you wouldn't be on an unrecognizable world now, okay? For the lies in that fucking war, just with America alone. However, okay, also, j'accuse, I accuse. Like I said, it doesn't go far enough. It's just really what the dead want is democracy, right? Democracy of the dead, isn't it? That's an old term, right? So it was just interesting watching this now. I wonder if Dante will make a film about these zombies. They don't get to luckily die after casting their vote for the Democrat. Okay, that image alone is kind of interesting. Not to mention that the blonde, crazy woman in this, in the beginning especially too, she kind of evokes another blonde political woman that we know, okay, who is really scary. Hardly. Miss Coulter has since denounced and apologized for supporting the Iraq War at the time. Okay, but you have a party now of these people, okay, who are all seem to be all for these wars, evil wars. What was done in 2014 in Syria, and what was done in the Arab world under a democratic president. I can't imagine the horrors. You've never seen horrors on video like the horrors of these assets of what these people, ISIS, did. Okay. Not to mention one last thing with this. If you actually had the dead come back, and there's a scene where great, what's his name? I think he passed away. The Hispanic actor, great actor though. He plays like a Karl Rove type. Gets his comeuppance from one of the zombies. Okay, which is satisfying, but. The problem is if you actually show the zombies coming and doing that to the main architects of this Iraq war, well, you couldn't show that episode, could you? Okay, because in the end, that war, was it for oil? What was it for? It was a threat against some country that we took care of, okay, or that we're taking care of. But regardless, there's so much to go over. It's just interesting to see in the context of now. Imagine if the dead didn't drop dead after casting a ballot, but we're still alive, suffering. Well, you don't have to imagine that because that's what's happening now. Okay, nearly every guy I know who's in that damn war, who's alive, is fucked up. Okay, so whatever. I thought it was an interesting little coming at something from a very different angle than the paradigms of Democrat and Republican. Okay. Anyway, man, I got a little heated there. It's also funny too how they have the whole Guantanamo issue here. Okay, well, luckily that was closed by the Democrat president who came in after this. Right? It's also funny too at the end they actually have there's a government in exile and it's some kind of aftermath of the zombies. Right? But Washington D.C. is taken over by this group. Who threatened to go after anyone that has an unjust war going on. So the Capitol was taken over in an insurrection. It's oh man, there's nothing better than the bitter laughter of reflection in years, is there? Right? It's always it's always better served as a cold dish, isn't it? Oof, man, ooh, man, I could feel the venom coming out of my mouth. Anyway, let's go to the other one. I thought I'd show a little scene here. See if this gets up. Alright, so this guy voting, who obviously was killed in the war. But it's just, like I said, you had a guy who was also against the Iraq war at the time, who didn't vote for the war like the president you have now, You had the president voted against it. You had a guy who was against it who became president. And I guarantee you, Dante hates that guy. Even more than he hated the fucking president at the time here. So now like this, he casts his vote, and now he's dead. Now he's really dead, the true death. And here we go. This is amazing, right?
He's dead.
Oh, it's supposed to be satirical.
Really dead.
So, you see this? They wanted to give me one of these a couple weeks ago. Right? You see that?
A mirror.
They wanted to give me that a couple of weeks ago. I remember the person goes, "Hey, you want a sticker?" The contempt I looked at this person with, it could bore through someone. It's like when I was at the liquor store and the guy said, "Thank you for what you do." Okay, when I come out of work with all the things that have been going on, I felt the same way. I felt like I wanted to. I just looked at them like with a look of I don't know if it was contempt, incredulity. I didn't even use the right word there, but you know what I'm saying. It was like, and I saw people all day long with this sticker on them. Okay. Really, the deeper issues of democracy and other things are really what should be examined in horror, and nobody wants to do that. Damn it, are you gonna make me be the guy to do that? We shall see.